Welcome to No Shoulds Given podcast. We're Lisa and Sarah, two women on a mission to help you ditch the invisible shoulds you've been living your life by and start doing life your way.
This is for the women who are done being the good girl, the fixer, the peacekeeper, the one that's ready to stop drinking, start taking up space, say no without guilt, and reconnect with the bold audacity that she had in her 20s. This is your permission slip to question the script and rewrite it.
This is the No Shoulds Given podcast.
In this week's episode of No Shoulds Given, we are talking about snakes and ladders, the messy reality of expansion. When you start expanding into the next level of yourself, life doesn't just go up, does it? It moves in leaps and slides. It's one step forward, a couple back. Some moments catapult you forward. The ladders, they feel like progress and give you momentum to carry on. Others feel like snakes setting you back 6 steps, but actually they're both part of growth.
What are the ladder moments? Because actually, when we talk about quantum leaping, you hear this quite a lot, don't you, on social media, or you hear about expansion. What does it actually mean? Because I think when you're somebody who doesn't understand, it's quite often feels like it's this great big change or this great big leap, when actually these shifts are through saying yes when you're not ready. It's speaking up or showing up publicly, especially when you're frightened and your knees are knocking together, you know. It's backing yourself in a room, sticking up for yourself, using your voice, telling people your ideas, making a decision your old self potentially wouldn't. Yeah, these are quantum leaps. These are things that you are doing that are against the norm, against your normal behavior, because your brain might tell you not to. Your body might put you directly into freeze mode. You know, these are the quantum leaps. It's one aligned decision that can move you 10 squares forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely fell into that trap of expecting the shifts to be really big, because the collapse of my life was so massive. For whatever reason, I threw myself into, right, things have got to change. But rather than focusing on one decision at a time, one step at a time, one action at a time, I really believed for a while that the comeback would be amazing and a big catastrophic, like, fanfare moment. And it fucking wasn't.
You end up being in a place where you're feeling really impatient, where then you start to feel like, well, what's the flaming point? Nothing's moving forward. I'm not moving forward. I'm failing.
Oh, I've had many of them in the last couple of years.
Yeah, and actually you're not. It's taking those bold actions, decisions that other people wouldn't have a flaming clue. Because so often people have no idea how we feel underneath it all. Yeah, we come across like we've got all our shit together. We come across like we're really confident. You know, especially women who are in, you know, successful job roles, who look like, you know, these people on social media who constantly look like they've got all their shit together and they're off on this holiday and they're successful and they're doing this and they're doing that. And it looks like they've got all their shit together. And actually, underneath it all, they haven't. We're so often the same, that everybody's going through their own small situations and shifts and, you know, need to expand in their own way.
Completely. And I believe as women, we actually have a duty to have these conversations more, because as much as I love Instagram, it is an absolute fucker for convincing you that there are no ladders, it's just snakes. The doubt is creeping in. The patterns are resurfacing. You're feeling exposed by visibility. Your relationships and friendships are falling by the wayside. And everything on the outside is all shiny and great. And look at her. And look at what they're doing. Yeah. Because we don't speak about it. And it's not you need fixing. We say this time and time again. It's just reality. And it's not one and done either. It is a constant game of snakes and ladders. It is new level, new devil. Saying no to the kids, for example, might be really uncomfortable. Then you start to say no, that becomes the norm. So then the next level is standing up to your fuckwit boss. And you think, well, why can't I do that? I've been able to do it in X, Y, and Z situation. I'm failing and the doubt creeps in. I'm not as healed as I thought I was. What's the point? I can't do it. All of that happens, but it's like you grow to fit that level and then you have to go up again and expand to that next level, don't you? But we're very, very good at talking the other side, and particularly in the coaching space, in the online world, as coaches, business owners, marketing ourselves, we are very much told to speak from the scar, not the wound. So go through something and then speak on it, which I do completely understand, because then if you're in the mess, you can fall into that negative trauma dumping and it doesn't have the desired effect. But sometimes you need to show up from there to normalize it, because each and every person goes through it. But some, I don't know, for whatever reason, won't ever speak from it. They'll just show you the shiny results on the other side. And
Yeah.
it's very easy, like you say, to believe that everyone else has got those ladders, everyone else is getting a hand up, everyone else has got it a lot easier than you, when actually they just don't talk about it.
Exactly. And that's why I've always tried to be open and honest with what I'm going through, not just showing empowering, posts and telling people how to be confident and all that kind of stuff, like even when I'm going through stuff, I'm open and honest and I share it, because so often as women, we feel like we're saying, you're going up the ladder, then all of a sudden you feel like you've gone down a snake and you've gone backwards. Why do we always feel like we've gone fucking backwards? We've not gone 10 steps back. Life. So
So conditioned to win or lose, aren't we?
exactly.
Everything is success or failure.
Yeah.
There's
So
no narrative around that gradual growth. And I fell into that trap. I've been in that place myself. I've had that attitude of like the overachiever. If it's not moving forward, if I'm not making those big steps, if it's not shiny and gold and like fanfare-ish, then it's failure. But those things don't actually teach you what
no,
you need to learn. And quite often they lead to burnout, which isn't failure at all, but it's another level of something that you actually need to work on. Whereas
exactly. It's because
if you just had that pause and gone, right, okay, what is this pattern? What is this script? What is this thing that I'm trying to work through? And sat with it and taken those steps, rather than gone, I know, a new job, a new partner, a holiday, a new car. All of those things will fix it. So I'm going to work like an absolute dickhead to get it, burn myself out. Oh, okay, they haven't helped. I don't feel good. I'm kind of still remunerating on these feelings. And you've got a choice again, haven't you? The ladder is to acknowledge it and work through it, but the snake, in fact, is chasing that another external, because it is going to pull you back down to whatever you need to fix until you fix it.
yeah, but even despite that, life. But we can't be okay 24/7, and that's the end of it. We can't be on top of the world every single day. Like, that's not normal human behavior. And the problem is, a lot with social media, it's all about this fucking toxic positivity, and it's bullshit. I don't believe in it. It's crap. Like, at the end of the day, yes, I understand that if you're in a bit of a dark hole and things feel hard and you feel really low, yes, I always say to my clients, always face it, sit in it, and then we move from it. We do not sit any longer than a certain amount of time, because unfortunately then you get into this cycle of staying down, and the longer you're down there, the harder it is to come back up. But life is life. Like,
Yeah.
I'm definitely not positive all of the time. If I feel shit, I feel fucking shit, and I'm going to honour myself to sit with it. I don't even need to figure out why. Like, we don't have to have the answers every time we don't feel right. If it comes to us, great. If it doesn't, just let it be. Just allow yourself, honour it. And this is the biggest thing, I believe, with ascension or expansion or that next level, is really understanding yourself inside out. Is honouring yourself inside out. Like, at the end of the day, I feel how I fucking feel, and that's okay. I don't know why, I can't get myself out of it, but that's fine. I'm just going to sit with it. And then we move on. I don't care who you are, how successful you are, we all go through the lulls. We all
Level.
come down the snake. I don't know if I've mentioned on here previously, I've decided that I'm not going to speak on other people's public stages this year for now. I spoke at an event in January and I came away not feeling great. And I'm not going to go into detail necessarily, but I made a decision from there that I was going to pull away from all future events that I had signed up to. When we look at social media and we look at Instagram, when you worry about what other people think and how other people see you, and oh my God, if I'm not seen on stages this year, will people think I'm not successful? Oh, if I'm not seen doing X, Y, and Z, do you think that people might think I've gone backwards in my business, or I'm not in demand, or whatever it might be, you know, like I have to be seen to be doing the thing to make sure I'm seen as successful. And it's bullshit. Like when we lead self first, when we lead ourself from our bodies, from our hearts, from our soul, you start to forget about that external noise. You start to forget about what everybody else is doing on fucking Instagram or Facebook. And trust me, ladies, this isn't just in business, it's everything in life. When you lead from you first and what feels good, what lights you up, what means the absolute world to you, all that fucking noise becomes nothing. It doesn't
Absolutely.
affect you. Don't get me wrong, there are always going to be occasions you might scroll, because we all, in our human nature, get pulled in, don't we? And we do the doom scroll for 2 hours and then we go, now I feel really shit, I feel really low, and I feel like I'm fucking failing again.
Yeah, but that's when, like, the first question I always ask in anything that's self-led is, what is your version of success? And
Yeah,
you can apply that to anything, like what your life, your business, your family, your relationships, whatever. What is your version of that success? And when you're so locked in, and that's driven self first, it's my wanky phrase coming, North Star, you can filter through that doom scrolling a lot quicker, because rather than going, oh, look at her with her handbags and holidays, you go, I'm really pleased for her. And when that comparison starts to kick in, you go, but that wouldn't, if I was in that situation, that isn't what would light me up. Carry on. And it does cut through the noise. And that's why I will die on the hill of the mute button. If you're getting your social media, you're in control of, it should be there to entertain, educate, connect with people and make you feel good. If you are being pulled into that comparisons trap, mute them, unfollow them. You know, if they've changed direction or something's happening within you where you felt aligned with that and now you don't, or their views are different, you don't have to keep consuming it. You are completely in control. And when you know that driver of what your values are, what is important to you, where you're coming from and what you want to achieve, then automatically, without it having to be conscious, it bats away these noises.
definitely.
It gets rid of the shoulds, and you're on that, like, yeah, that makes me laugh. But also, if something does trigger you, you're clear enough to go, what is this? Why is that making me feel like that? What have I got going on here?
Exactly. And so often, though, when you want to try and understand what is going on for me, we instantly try to look at it as if it's a really big thing. And it could just be something really simple of, I've not been feeling anything in my life with joy. Like, what have I
Yeah,
actually been doing for myself? It can be that
yeah,
flaming simple, that you just haven't done anything that's lit you up for a while. Maybe you've not gone for dinner with your partner. Maybe you've not spent time with the kids. Maybe you haven't gone to the beach or gone for a walk or gone and played tennis with your mates. Whatever it is that you need to bring that joy back into, you know, and that happiness and that high energy, you've just been missing it. What is
yeah.
it? Just get yourself back out there. Things start to shift pretty quickly. It doesn't have to be a big situation or something that's wrong or something that needs to be fixed.
No, we don't need fixing at all. We just don't.
No, we
I've
don't.
been through a bit of a situation like this in the last few weeks. Life has happened. So the things that would normally fill my cup and give me connection and joy haven't been as accessible. I've had appointments, so I've missed like group coaching calls, things like that. It's been half term. We haven't done this. So all of my connection points had gone away and I was feeling like, oh, it's all right for them. Woe is me kind of thing. And then I realised old me used to retreat. Old me used to not speak to anyone for days and like keep myself to myself. Right now, I've spoken about this before, like opened up to connection. I've got people that I can rely on and turn to, and it's very different. But without really thinking about it, I'd slipped into old ways, I'd pulled back and I'd lost that. So it felt like I was spiraling, but actually I just disconnected from things that actually bring me joy.
So the truth is here, snakes aren't punishment. Like we've said, they're exposure. So they're showing what needs to be shed or what needs to change in that moment. How do we need to shift? It doesn't need to be a negative situation. It can be as little as, oh my God, what joy is missing from my life? And then all we're doing is boosting it again. So expansion, everyone thinks it's going up, 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 but it's not, is it? It's going up and down and up and down. Like nothing in life is a direct straight line. And we're not failing. We're just going up and down, up and down. With life, we pause, we leap, we go again, and it's a nervous system expansion. It's our identity is shifting. We're learning, we're moving, we're making new decisions. We're learning more about ourselves every single day. And, when these things happen, instead of us asking, why is this happening to me? Like you were saying, that woe is me. Why is this happening again? Why is this repeating? Why does it keep the same old shit, different day? Like I'm trying really hard and I'm trying to climb and I keep coming back down. But why don't we try asking ourselves, what version of me is being asked to emerge here? Because when we've lived so long in that victim mode, in that victim mentality that life is against us, it can be really difficult to get ourselves into this place of understanding that we are expanding and that life's, it's nothing against us, it's not personal. And I always say this to my clients, nothing in life is good or bad. Nothing. Everything is neutral. It's what we make it. So when you live in this victim mode all the time, it's not because life's against you. It's not because God or the universe hates you and punishing you. You've made a choice whether this situation is good or bad, and you are reacting by choice.
Yeah, very much so. And when we say victim mode, like we're not pointing the finger, but like you are making it 10 times harder. There is a massive societal narrative that life is difficult, work is hard, the money is difficult to come by, relationships are a struggle, blah, blah, blah. We are brought up a lot of the time believing that and being beaten with that stick. So we take on those thoughts. We take on those beliefs. They're not necessarily consciously what you think, but that subconscious programming back here that's just running the show without us realising is keeping you in that poor me, it's difficult, it's hard. And that's what we mean by victim mode, rather than like, we're not pointing the finger, being like, snap out of it, you're making it 10 times worse than you are. Because a lot of the time it's not even conscious. It's not until you start to catch your thinking that you think, God, I actually am making this out to be negative. I on repeat say to myself, nothing has meaning but the meaning we give it, particularly around like I've spoken about this before, big events, Christmas without my kids, those like highlight moments where the should start, like, you should be in a relationship, Sarah, this isn't like this, you should have a better family life than this, blah blah blah, which is all a load of bollocks. So
I think that's very difficult when you're also co-parenting. Like you can't, how you can put those shoulds on yourself when you're in that scenario is beyond me, because
I don't consciously, but I would be lying if I didn't say in those moments, on occasion, those shoulds do come up. I'm very, very good at being like, nothing has meaning but the meaning we give it. Like, I'm not failing or whatever because this is my current situation on this day or in this circumstance, but they do come up. And in those moments, that nothing has meaning but the meaning we give it resets me to be like, who says that day needs to look like that? On whose terms? And then it goes back to, again, that version of success and your narrative and what is your standards in your life and what is important to you. When you're locked in on that, though, they're fleeting split seconds where I go, fuck off, mate, to myself and get back on track. So
I think in your If you're a single parent or you're co-parenting, however it works for you, even if you end up in another relationship in the future, unfortunately, Christmas Day is always going to look the same. Whether
Oh
you're
yeah.
spending it with their family and not your own, you're never going to have your children every single year, are you? Basically, you're never going to be able to live up to that perfect narrative that plays in your mind.
No, and in reality, the other side of that is taking this example because I've brought it up. My Christmas Day was fucking banging. I went and saw my family. I had a lovely dinner. I came home. I went on a massive dog walk and then I watched TV. No arguments, no living up to other people's expectations, completely doing what I wanted, not having to abandon myself for the goodness of others. So there's plus and minuses to all
Yeah.
situations, isn't there? And you can look at it from both sides. Like, I'm sure there are people that are in the circumstances and relationships like I found myself in a few years ago, where you would dread those days and they were hell on earth because everyone was together. There was loads of triggers and you don't know what version of that person is going to wake up on that day. And you're just like clinging on for dear life, hoping that everyone gets to bed without a row. And they're probably looking, thinking, I wish my Christmas was like that. So it is, there's so many nuances to this situation. But at the time, when you are in those situations and that doubt and that comparison and everything comes up, it is just a little interrupter. Like, nothing has meaning but the meaning we give it. And it reframes everything quite quickly.
We can put this concept into everyday life, at the end
Yeah,
of the
that's
day,
what I mean.
we're going into the summer and everyone is going to start comparing their holidays. I mean, I'm seeing certain people on social media, they've already been on 2 holidays this year. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's March. By the time they finish this year, they're probably going to have had anything between, or not the same person, but lots of people that I know are going to have between 4 and 7 bloody breaks away. And it's like, am I failing? Am I getting this wrong? Where am I going wrong? And it's just reminding ourselves that actually, if I could have 7 holidays a year, my kids wouldn't want to go on 7 holidays. I can barely get my eldest son to fly out to Spain to see his grandparents because he's at that age anyway. So even if I could, they wouldn't be coming with me. It wouldn't be this perfect, rich, incredible lifestyle. Like, it just wouldn't.
It's just, that's the reality, isn't it? That is the
Exactly.
reality. Like, I don't care whether you're all squashed in the car going to Haven or whether you are like Kim Kardashian getting on a private jet. Like, your kids don't want anything to do with you. They're going to have tantrums. They're going to scream halfway through. You're going to forget something, you know. It happens to everybody.
And my
And
kids' favourite holiday was at a caravan at Haven.
love a Haven holiday. They're just so easy. There's
They
no
loved it.
expectation.
Yep.
It's safe for them to. I mean, now they're more independent and have better life than I do. But it's safe when they were smaller. It's safe for them to have a bit more independence and stuff. Everyone's just there for a good crack. Like, no one's pretending it's to be any more than it is.
No.
And yeah, I'm with you there. Some of the best. I mean, my last trip to Florida, spoken about this before, was an absolute holy shit show. I would much rather go to Haven than have to live that again.
Yeah. We just got to live the life that is right for us and what we are able to provide right now. We need to stop looking outside of ourselves to think, why has everybody else got it better, or they're doing better, or everybody else is more successful? That's not the case. It's
think
what
you've
works
hit
for you and your family. It's not just about money. It's not just about
no.
status. It's not just about any of that shit. It's what feels good for you and your family. That is the real success.
Yeah, I think you started to hit on a point there that even if you can afford 7 holidays a year, if you are disconnected and running a negative script that's quite heavy in comparison, it's quite full of resentment because you're the one that's doing all the packing and you've got to put in extra hours to make sure your inbox is empty before you go, remember to pay the dog walker and all of those things. If you're turning up to that holiday in that place, it's not going to be fun.
No.
There's going to be pockets of it, but you're not going to be able to tolerate the kids bickering. You're not going to be able to tolerate your husband not just wanting to sit at pull and drink another beer rather than going to do something else. You're not going to have the capacity for those external silver bullets to give you what you need.
Yeah.
Either.
Your nervous system is going to be on high alert. You know, we can't, this is my opinion, is I don't want a life that I need to holiday from. I don't want to go on holiday because it's the only way that I can relax. Because you go away for a week, as we all know, and we've got 5 days in, we're only just starting to actually, our bodies are starting to relax, and then we've got to come home in 2 days, then we start panicking about what we're coming home to, and we're having to start this whole life up again of busy, 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 busy. What happened when we were in lockdown? I was talking about this the other day, right? We were in lockdown. Everybody suddenly started to look at life differently, which was incredible. People's spiritual beliefs, awareness, openness started to really flourish. People start wanting to lead a life that truly lights them up. They're not going back to that busyness anymore. They're not on that constant 60 hours a week, brain constantly switched on, never having any fun, not spending time with each other. And it's gone again. No one goes and visits their family. No one picks up the bloody phone. Everyone's just sat scrolling. Even when you're in the pub or a restaurant, you look around and everyone's on their shitting phones. It's like, what has happened? Like, it's only 6 years ago. Like, how have we reverted back to needing a life that we need to holiday from? Like, I'm telling you now, the day that I don't have to work for anybody else and I go full in on my own, and whether I can holiday or not, that is the biggest bloody success I have ever created in the whole of my life. I don't give a shit what anybody else thinks. It's how I feel every single day and what I'm bringing to the table for me and my clients. We really, really need to stop measuring our own lives against what we're seeing on social media. And we've said it so many times, haven't we? It's all fucking fake anyway. Not all of it. Not all of it. So those ladder moments, they don't have to be those big, great big leaps, those great big successes, what other people would deem as those successes, sorry. It's just, never just. It's something that has accelerated our lives. Do you know what? The smallest accelerations, trust me, bring the biggest results. Every single time. They are life-changing. But we just dismiss them because we don't feel like they're anything. And we still feel like we're failing. So we haven't even acknowledged what we've just bloody done. And those snake moments, you know, they actually lead to our expansion later. Because quite often when we come down that snake, and like you were saying earlier, Sarah, and we face something, it always leads to coming back up the ladder again. And we come up the ladder stronger, more resilient, happier, different, self-led, whatever it might be, because we've come down the snake for a reason, and then we've learnt from it to come back up. And we come up nowhere near in the same way that we went down.
Yeah, it's not a straight climb, is it, at all? It is a little bit like running the gauntlet, really. It's a little bit like gladiators. It's quite challenging. I do believe the more you avoid listening and being in tune with your intuition, the bigger that battle you have to face. I'm sure we've all been in a situation where our gut has been telling us, this isn't right, don't do this, blah, 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 whatever, where we've gone, you've either made excuses for the person, or you've gone, oh, it's what I should be doing, or I'll just try, I'm sure it's not that bad, it'll get better. And then a week down the line, a year down the line, 6 years down the line, you're like, well, I knew this was going to happen. Hindsight is a wonderful thing, but it's just that reiteration, isn't it, of tuning in.
To build that self-trust.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We don't listen because we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust what we're hearing. We don't trust what we're feeling. So we have to start building that to fully start listening to ourselves. And again, this all comes from figuring out, who am I under all the noise, under all the shit, under all the conditioning? Who am I? What do I believe in? What lights me up, what makes me feel good, what am I passionate about, and just as importantly, what makes me angry, what makes me feel shit, what doesn't make me feel good, you know, all these things are really, really important. So we start to really understand who we are, what our beliefs are, what our values are, and then we start to build that self-trust.
Yeah. Completely agree. Well, we've spoken about like your version of success, but in the quiet, when I was wrestling with something a little while ago, I suddenly found myself like flipping it on its head completely. I wasn't sure about a decision that I had to make. Is it going backwards? Blah, blah, blah. And then I suddenly thought to myself, but what does failure look like to you? Like, if you think that making this choice, going down this path, whatever, is a step backwards, is failing, blah, 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 what does failure look like to you? Because it doesn't, and it doesn't look like making a choice that's going to put me further forward in the long run. It doesn't look like taking a different route to get to where I want to be. It doesn't look like saying, oh, actually, for me personally, for my well-being, for my connections, that is the right choice. Putting myself first, none of that is failing. So you are making the right choice.
See,
Because
I
it
don't believe.
supports everything. I don't
I
believe in failure.
No, I don't believe in failure at all. It
I
doesn't even
don't
exist.
believe, but do you know what I mean? I'm using that word in,
But
like,
most
I
people
was,
do believe in failure because, like you said
yeah.
earlier, people either believe in success or failure. That's it. Like it's black and white. It's one or the other, and it's crap. There's no such thing as failure. You can't
But in
fail.
that situation where I was starting to feel like that decision at that crossroads felt negative compared to all of the forward action that I've been taking, but it was just that. Like, it's leading to the same destination, it's just taking a different path. But in the moment, you know, like we say, we don't get this right 100% of the time. We're not the most positive. We're not always the most confident. We don't have all the answers. When you sit with yourself and it's like, this feels like a backward step, it doesn't feel like where I want to be going. That question came up and I was able to say, well, actually, no, making this choice, moving forward down this road, going that way, taking that leap, that's not failure in inverted
No,
commas to me.
no.
So shut up, give
Yeah,
your head a wobble.
yeah.
Tell Dorothy, the inner critic, to get back in her box and let's go.
Exactly. And when you're constantly taking these forward movements, constantly big strides, big steps, that's not sustainable. You can't keep doing it
No.
every single day, every single week. Like, you have to stop, you have to rest, you have to assess. Like, I know we
I
want to
think that's,
get to that
well,
end goal, but why do we always jump so far ahead to the end
we
goal
are our
instead of
own worst
looking at
enemies.
where we're heading?
Yeah, we are our own worst enemy. You and I, like, we need to keep moving. We need to keep kind of going and feeling, and we will dive into things and move forward. So sometimes that pause, we appreciate and we know that we need it, but sometimes we're reluctant to take it, aren't we? And we've sort of put a layer and a story attached to it that isn't really there because we're so used to going.
I think I've done so much deep diving last year that and shedding and not understanding what the heck is going on, that I've actually gone into this year feeling so much calmer and much more relaxed about it. Like, it just is what it is. If I've got to lie in bed for the day and I don't know why, I'm just going to lie in bed. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything about me, doesn't mean anything about where I'm going or I'm not going or success or not success. I'm just like, I'm just feeling into it. Like, I feel that chilled out about it. That it's a good place to be, don't get me wrong. But then thinking about all our listeners, those people that aren't action takers,
Yeah.
sometimes you need a rocket up your ass, because I also have clients that come to me who want the help but aren't willing to do the work. And sometimes we talk a lot about taking too many steps and resting, waiting, no failure. But
Yeah, they need a love and a shove, you know?
yeah,
But it, again, comes back to really owning your shit.
it's taking responsibility, isn't it? And really
Yeah.
fully understanding again who you are, what makes you tick. Like, not everybody's going to have this drive to better themselves 24/7 like we do, and that's absolutely fine. But equally, if you're looking at your life or you're feeling unhappy or you're feeling like something's missing, and I feel like so many women spend their whole life living under these umbrellas and hats and shoulds and titles, and never really fully look at what is good for them and what they want out of life. And so many women sit in the back of their minds thinking, fucking hell, there's got to be more to life than this. There's got to be more to life than this, and then do nothing about it. And I understand it is so difficult, especially when you've got all those responsibilities and you feel like you've got no choice. But there still are segments of time that you can grab for yourself, even just to sit with yourself for half an hour. without listening to that mum, without listening to your husband droning on about fucking work, having to do the tea, having to do this, just give yourself half an hour and just say, do you know what? I'm going
Same.
upstairs. I'm giving myself this
Yeah.
time, and just start and sit with yourself and figure out this feels really good in this moment. Why does it feel good? Why does this feel good? Yeah, it feels good because of this, that, and the other. Right, I'm going to allow myself and honor myself to have more of this. And then once you start to get into that routine, like I wasn't trying to say people were lazy or anything like that earlier. It's just, it's difficult. It's that guilt. It's not being able to find the time. It's too much responsibility on our shoulders. Like just half an hour, 20 minutes will make such a significant difference to you. Believe me. Because I was that mum. I was that person that felt guilty constantly. Having a PT session. Who the fuck do I think I am once a week having a fucking hour to myself? And leaving the house on my own. Who the fuck do I think I am? The guilt was unbelievable. But it's your life too. Yes, you chose to have kids. Yes, you're maybe in a partnership. At the end of the day, you don't stop being you. You came into the world by yourself, you'll leave this world by yourself, and you are entitled to put yourself first.
Yeah. Responsibility isn't the enemy. It's the
No.
story that we attach to that responsibility that is what the problem is.
Well,
Like
it's
if
a
you go
story that
around,
we were given.
well, yeah, we
That's
were
the thing.
given, we do create ourselves as well in our beliefs and actions. We didn't inherit everything. We do behave a certain way, and then that leads to something, and we create a narrative around it. The long and the short of it is the washing's always going to be done. The kids, no matter how old they are, while they're under your roof, are going to drive you wild. Your husband is going to piss you off and never be able to get his clothes in the wash bin. Always walk past full washing machine, blah, blah, blah. That is always going to happen unless you can get staff in to deal with it for you without having to think. If you start your day in that narrative of no one knows, it's all on me, then you're going to be stuck there.
Yeah.
And
let the fucking washing sit there for half an hour. Half an hour longer while you have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Does
No
it
one's
make
going to
a
die.
difference?
No.
I always find, whether this is right or wrong, that if you start off by trying to do everything first and then you kind of earn that time to yourself, you never find it because there's always something else to do. And so if you start, say if you are at home in the morning, just as an example, start that once the kids have gone to school for half an hour to yourself. Do that first and then everything else will get done. Nothing will get left behind.
I know you. Well, what are we doing it for? It's another should, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I am slightly set in my ways with my routines and what needs to be done. But now, if I don't do it, that story doesn't start.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, I'll do it when I need to. I'll get around to it.
And that's a big shift in you in the last year.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. I mean, it's a massive shift. About 4 years ago, I worked with a coach, and they know, like you do that wheel of like life and you rate where all of the sections are and everything. And then she's like, right, I want you to tell me how you spend your week. And she gave me this planner of like 5 a.m. till 10 p.m. every day. And it was ridiculous. Like every 15 minutes. Ridiculous. And she's like, what? And I'd lied. I'd put less down there than I was
can
doing.
Imagine.
I laugh at myself now, but I also feel really sad. Really sad for that version of me that, I mean, I'm still up at 5 o'clock now, but my life is so fucking different. That version of me that was up at 5 o'clock, literally giving absolutely everything she had to the benefit of everybody else around me.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't sustainable. Like, I did do it every day, but there were real cracks showing. There were, like, I was the heaviest I've ever been because I just ate shit.
You didn't have time to have a proper meal, did you? Because you didn't allow yourself the time.
No, I lived off Lucasade, like chicken and mushroom slices, because I got myself into the headspace of, well, I haven't had any calories, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter, these would be fine. But just looking back, how much I stacked my day, like every load of washing was timed to how long it took and when I would put it out. And
And the next one on, and then the next
I was a
chore.
fucking monster. But
But that was
yeah,
your version of success at that time, wasn't it?
it wasn't my version of success. It was very much from survival, and it was a version of me that had taken on responsibility for other people. It was way beyond my control, but I was desperately trying to control life to minimize the chaos. So to
So it was survival mode.
Yeah, it was for survival. My ex was an addict. We'd go through periods of time where it would be fantastic, but we would go through periods of time where maybe he'd been triggered by something and he would go into a spiral, and I wouldn't see him for a couple of days, and I would not have a clue what version of him was going to walk back through the door. So from the minute I woke up in the morning to when I closed my eyes, if I closed my eyes, because if he wasn't there, I probably didn't sleep, I solely took it on myself to create no ripples in that pond for myself and the kids
Yeah.
under our roof, to make life as calm as possible so there were no triggers for him. Obviously, it doesn't work like that. I fully know that I was not in control of his triggers, his addiction. I know how addiction works. I know that it's no reflection on myself, but it doesn't matter rationally what your head.
Not when you're in the middle of it. It does. Yeah. You can see that now for what it is, but not at the time.
You come from survival. You really care about the person too. Ultimately, you don't want them to be in that place. And I had 3 or 4 kids under the roof as well, and I had to try and keep the
As much
peace
normality.
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I look back and how things are now, when I say I'm a little bit anal about like when I do my washing and the routine and all of those things, it is a world away from what I used to be like, version of me that was surviving. And sometimes it does feel a little bit like, come on, you should be doing more, but we don't do should.
No.
So who says?
We do what feels good.
I am the boss of me. This is my castle that I have built myself. And
Yeah.
I will do what I want when I want. And if that means sitting around in my pants eating Dominoes on a Saturday watching true crime on Netflix, then that is what I'm going to do. And the washing and the dog and the washing up and everything else can fucking wait.
Exactly.
But I do appreciate that I am now in a slightly privileged position, but equally I did go to hell and back to get here, so I'm not going to apologise for it.
Nothing to apologise for anyway. Nothing at all. Your life, your choice. No one is the boss of you, like you say.
No, never fucking will be again.
No, we're adults. We get to choose. And I'm more looking at that of when we're obviously children, we have to do as we're told, not from that relationship part.
So let's wrap things up for this week. Thank you for listening. Oh, and also really quickly, thank you to those that have still been listening while we've been on a break, because I've been keeping a little check out on the numbers and people are still tuning in. So we very much appreciate every one of you. If you are hitting snakes right now, you're still in the game, babe. The only people not sliding, despite what their Instagram says, are the ones that are not playing.
Exactly. Expansion isn't a straight climb. We know that, don't we? It is a game of courage. We just got to keep moving.
Keep swimming.
Yeah.
Just keep swimming, as Dory would say. Also repeat that to myself quite a lot too.
Thanks for listening, guys.
We will see you next week.